Good afternoon. I'll call to order the meeting of the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of the annual meeting held January 23rd, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to approve the minutes of the annual meeting held January 23rd, 2018. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. The next item is to consider the city manager utilities activity report.
Members of the commission, you've had opportunity to look over the report. A couple items I'll just note. No injuries were reported for the month of January. That's a good thing. We will note that the electric production has paid a Minnesota Pollution Control Agency fine of $4,250. That was for an emission test failure due to faulty software and the conversion from old software to the new software, and it didn't trigger an inflow of water at the right time, and it resulted in a failure of the emission test. This is probably the smallest MPCA fine that I've ever seen, and we have sent in the paperwork to tell them how this will never happen again. The staff held seminars for the steam system for district heating downtown for the vendors and property owners. I think that was very well received. Hopefully, I know there's at least 2 property owners have come back from the meetings and said, we need to get a plumber and we need to get them checking our stuff out so that it's efficient and that we're getting the most out of our steam. So it did have an impact. I don't know about the vendors, if that made an impact on them, but I think we've had quite a few contractors not used to doing steam, and at least hopefully they got some knowledge from that. I know that was something that we've wanted to do for probably 6 months, and we finally had the opportunity to have that seminar or series of seminars. From the IT area, you'll note that the city PUC has had and fended off 2 virus attacks in the last 30 days, so we feel we're at least doing a fairly decent job. I know Nate probably says we could probably do better, and I know he's continuing to work on that, but I think we're doing pretty good on the virus catching aspect of our software. The also in IT, you'll notice that we've gone away from the ci.new-ulm.mn.us domain name, and it's been shortened up to newulmmn.gov. That's in place. We've got mail going in both directions. You can still use the old domain email address, but eventually we'll get everybody switched over, and I don't know how long we can do it. Quite a while we can use the old one, but at this point, just trying to get the word out that we have a new address, so try and use that. So it'd be I think for most people, like for me, it'll be Brian G at newulmmn.gov. So it shortened things up dramatically, which was the main purpose. It got a little lengthy. And then also, I just want to point out that the recruitment for the utility director is ongoing with the consultant, and we'll be having a discussion probably with them in the next probably 60 plus days 30 days to reconnect and make sure that we're on the same page as far as what we're looking for and what they're finding out there. So with that, if you want to do the employee of the month, that would be.
Yeah, we need to recognize Mark Stieber, who's a wastewater plant operator.
I'll make a motion to receive and order filed the report regarding utility operations during the month of February 2018.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to receive and order filed the report regarding utility operations during the month of February 2018. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is to consider resolutions to honor the service first of Gary Domeyer for his 44 years with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission. Do you want to offer any words about Mr. Domeyer's
Well, I thought you
history,
did.
or?
Well, Mr. Domeyer's been here since February 12th of 1974 and just recently retired. He basically went through, I think, almost every position in the power production department, from plant helper, to chief engineer, which he was promoted in 1994 for that position. He held it till January 31 of 2018. So very commendable work time with the city.
I'd offer the motion to offer the resolution and waive the reading commending Gary Domeyer for 44 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utility Commission.
Second.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and second to offer a resolution and waive the reading commending Gary Domeyer for nearly 44 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission. You call the roll?
Commissioner Finkelin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillersheim?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaunis?
Yes.
Commissioner Swan?
Yes.
President Heine?
Yes. And the resolution passes. Next is to consider a resolution to honor Steve Grusendorf's 35 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission.
All right, Mr. Grusendorf was employed by the New Ulm Public Utilities in two areas. He started as a coal handler in electric production, and he transferred to gas department, where he held the positions of lead operator and construction chief before his promotion to assistant gas department supervisor in 2015. So again, another long-term employee that was much appreciated.
I'll offer the motion to offer, pardon?
Resolution.
I'll offer the motion to offer the resolution
Okay.
and waive the reading commending Steve Grusendorf for 35 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and second to offer a resolution and waive the reading commending Steve Grusendorf for 35 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Would you call the roll?
Commissioner Finkelin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillersheim?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaunis?
Yes.
Commissioner Swan?
Yes.
President Heine?
Yes. Okay, now under new business, oh, sorry, that was new business. We need to consider authorizing the city manager to pay the final bills on the wastewater treatment plant's ATAD upgrade.
Yeah, this would close out the project we've been working on the wastewater facility for about a year and a half or 2 years. The project is complete at this time. We have two very minor warranty things that they will be doing yet, and that's just some turf restoration and painting of one exterior door. Project has a 2-year warranty for anything that goes wrong with it, and it's currently operating well, and the staff is starting to tailor operations to gain a little more efficiency and still meet the requirements for a Class A biosolid. If there's any questions?
There are no questions. We'd entertain a motion.
Move to authorize the city manager to pay the final pay application in the amount of $191,465.90 for the wastewater treatment plant's ATAD upgrade project with Rice Lake Construction Group, which includes project retainage and final closeout.
I'll second.
Are there any further questions or discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to authorize the city manager to pay the final pay application in the amount of $191,465.90 for the wastewater treatment plant's ATAD upgrade project with Rice Lake Construction Group, which includes project retainage and final closeout. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries.
So did you see that?
Next, we need to consider final payment for invoices related to the South Side substation.
This is another project that has been on and off again over the last 3 years, I guess. This would close out this project. We have just got done putting the tap change indicator in and final testing. This project initially had a budget of 1.4 million, but we're currently coming in 381,000 under budget. So
Yay.
Happy about that.
I considered that good news, yes. And it's been up and in service for quite a while. We just had a few minor things that took so long to finish out. Otherwise, we are complete.
I'll offer a motion authorizing the city manager to pay and close out the purchase orders for conductor power in the amount of $24,552.60, LAS Electric in the amount of $1,643.80, and Virginia Transformer Corp. in the amount of $6,600 for the South Side Transformer Addition.
Second.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and second authorizing the city manager to pay and close out the purchase orders for conductor power in the amount of $24,552.60, LNS Electric in the amount of $1,643.80, and Virginia Transformer Corp. in the amount of $6,600 for the South Side Transformer Addition. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Next item in the agenda is related to the need for a South Side Substation Operations Manual.
Yes, this would be the operations manual and a complete set of documentation for the substation. This would include the project we just closed out with the South Side Transformer Addition, but also all of the old assets throughout the site for both the operation manual and a definitive set of plans that are currently the way it stands today. Because through this project, we have found several plans of things that have been removed that don't exist anymore that were still on record, and some things were there that were never on any plans anywhere. So this is just cleaning up that substation, getting a good operations manual to help anybody coming in the future to better manage this facility. And this was budgeted at $75,000, but the proposal came in at $71,500 for both items.
I'll offer the motion authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal for engineering services for the South Side Substation Operations Manual and substation documentation from Power System Engineering in the amount of $71,500.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to authorize the city manager to accept the proposal for engineering services for the South Side Substation Operations Manual and substation documentation from Power System Engineering in the amount of $71,500. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Mr. Persig again regarding the slope stabilization at the Heinen Hill site.
As this was brought to the commission last summer, I believe it was in the July meeting, that we have some relatively severe erosion issues going on by the 3 million gallon reservoir. And we have developed a set of plans, went out for bid, and we found the most reasonable, low-cost option that still provided us a good factor of safety. M&R, a local contractor, came in at $143,927.29. We had budgeted $250,000 for this project, so we are currently $106,072 under budget if everything goes perfectly. Any questions?
I've got a question. Is there a concern that there's such a difference in the costs of them? I mean, it's less than half of the highest one. I realize the next one is only, what, 9,000?
A couple of the higher ones, when we talked to in the question period of the bidding, didn't really have a good grasp of what the plans were to do. And I assumed that they were looking at this at what was the worst possible case. And I know M&R went on site and visited several times and got a very good grasp of what the project would take to do. And I think that's reflected in their bid.
Mhm.
There are other variables that go into, submitting bids. I've seen some contractors will say, well, I don't really need to work, but if I'm going to get it, I'm going to make a lot of money on it,
Well, and I don't know where these other ones are located, if there's drive time and.
Right. Their mobilization costs might be way higher than a local
It
person's.
just seemed like such a huge difference.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of different things go into that, and sometimes you never know why the bids come in the way they do.
Mhm.
Any other discussion or questions?
I'll offer the motion awarding the bid for construction services for the Heinen Hill Slope Stabilization Project to MR Paving and Excavating in the amount of $143,927.29 and authorizing the city manager to sign the contract documents.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second to award the bid for construction services for the Heinen Hill Slope Stabilization Project to MR Paving and Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $143,927.29 and authorizing the city manager to sign the contract documents. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Next, we have a presentation by George Brown relating to hypochlorite generation systems.
I think we first brought this to you in July last year. When you have chlorine gas as a disinfectant, it's a very toxic product. It's probably the cheapest chemical you can use to disinfect with, but regulations are getting stiffer and stiffer all the time, and we would have to come up with a plan on how to evacuate the downtown and evacuate Craft and Firmenich in an event of a spill. And so we decided to look at alternatives. This process, we will basically use electricity and table salt, and we'll create a very weak bleach solution. It's non-hazardous. Even if we spill and run in the street, it's not hazardous because it'll be less than 1% strength. Household bleach at home is 5% solution. And there are only two companies that produce this kind of equipment, and we've looked at those two companies there, and we have a final design, and we're ready to go out and advertise for bids and for installation. Any questions? You can see we had budgeted money in 2017, and we used $36,000 of that for the engineering, design, and bidding services, and we rebudgeted a total of $300,000 for this year.
So George, you're expecting the total cost to be under 300,000?
Right, right.
So it's not a cumulative where you've got
No.
185 plus the 300. It's just a 300.
Mm-hmm.
I'll offer the motion authorizing Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson Incorporated to prepare and publish bid documents for an on-site hypochlorite generation system at the New Ulm Water Treatment Plant.
Second.
Any more discussion on the motion? On the motion and second to authorize Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson Incorporated to prepare and publish bid documents for an on-site hypochlorite generation system at the New Ulm Water Treatment Plant. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Barron will present a proposal for engagement of cybersecurity measures.
Good evening, President Heine, Commissioners. Afternoon, I guess. We're not quite to evening, are we? The request is to consider a proposal for a cybersecurity partnership and an engagement for that. In talking with a lot of my colleagues in other cities and public utilities, and I'm really glad that the city manager brought up the statistics on some of the viruses that we've caught recently. In light of all the efforts that we've had for putting the right tools in place and improving our cybersecurity, and in the discussions I've had with my colleagues in other places, it's really become clear to me that we're really at a point where we need to figure out what our plan is for cybersecurity, and that we don't have all the policies and procedures in place that are really required for an organization our size. Recently, we found out that the Department of Energy has started their own cybersecurity division. I found out just the other day that the Security and Exchange Commission just released a guidance for publicly traded companies on their disclosures to investors on their cybersecurity postures. Cybersecurity is also something that anyone regulated by the FDIC or NCUA, any financial institution, they're intimately familiar with the regulations that are coming down from the federal government for cybersecurity. And so as I look around at what's going on, I've come to the conclusion that we probably need to get our house in order and make sure that we have a clear cybersecurity program, an information security program in place. We have insurers that are starting to ask us for our cybersecurity policies, and we have vendors that are asking for access to our network, and I don't have a clear set of policies to direct them to. I have best practices and some experience to rely on, but I don't have a formal policy for approving or disallowing some of these things because it hasn't been put down on paper. So security program really is a set of policies, procedures that are written and in place, and some regular testing that takes place to make sure we're following those policies, and also a strategy for improving cybersecurity based on testing and then evaluating the policies and procedures. And partnership really means that the vendor that we will be engaging this will be an ongoing thing for them to do continual testing with us to help us figure out what policies and procedures we need, and then also to help us figure out how to set them and then to implement them. The nice thing about having an engagement like this is that not only are they there during the beginning of the process, but they're also there at the end of the process for the implementation and to verify that things are in place. We have a couple of different proposals here from a couple of different companies. The one that I'm recommending that we go with is through SBS Cybersecurity. They're also the same organization that helped us do our cybersecurity testing in 2017 and helped us figure out some of the security holes that we have then. And we've worked on quite a few of those since then. The nice thing is that because we are a Heartland Consumer Power District customer, Heartland is willing or has agreed to reimburse us for some of the cost for this cybersecurity engagement. So the proposal is for $72,000. We will be reimbursed $5,000 of that for 2018, and that we got confirmation of that from Heartland Consumer Power. So that one, so the $72,000 will actually be less than will actually come in $5,000 under that. We don't have a commitment yet for 2019, but assuming that Heartland continues this program next year, we will also get a reimbursement next year for if we do the 2-year agreement with SBS. The 2-year agreement really is because, like I said, the vendor is there both for the beginning and the end. Program like this really is a 2-year process where the first year you figure out what you're going to do, then you do the work, and then the second year is really the implementation of everything, and then the follow-up testing. So what I would like to ask your approval for is for a 2-year engagement. We've budgeted this year for just such an engagement, and then this would also mean that I would need to make sure I budget for this for 2019 as well.
So would this end up being, I know that this is a 2-year commitment. Do we spend 70,000 roughly every year after that 2 years going forward? I mean.
Oh, sure. Well, the engagement is, so the $72,000 is for 2 years. So it's really $36,000 a year.
Okay.
And if you take the Heartland reimbursement out of that, so it would be about $31,000 per year. I don't know, and we'll have to reevaluate that when we get into year 2 to see how long we need to do this. My anticipation is that we won't need to continue it past year 2. Well, at least that's my hope, because at that point we will have the policies, procedures, and really have the program in place at that point. And then at that point we can do a as-needed engagement for them to reevaluate, to do any testing that we might need. Other organizations that I have talked to and that I've conversed with have they actually do this on an ongoing basis, and the reasoning behind that has been that they're not a big enough organization to have a full-time information security officer. Because those people are in high demand right now and actually quite expensive to hire, but they do need that additional expertise, and so they continue these engagements with an organization like SBS Cybersecurity. SBS Cybersecurity, their expertise or their background really is in the financial sector, and they do this sort of program with a lot of financial institutions around the area.
Have you talked with anyone that they've done business with, and someone who's gone through this process already?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have. Yep.
Okay.
And when you're in the financial sector, of course, it is a bit of a template. And when I talked with SBS, we would be the first municipality that they would be doing this for. They already do obviously through their partnership with Heartland, they're very familiar with cybersecurity and utilities and what our regulations are. Fortunately, we're not as regulated as a financial institution. We don't have, a bank would have the FDIC that would have a very rigorous program that you'd have to have in place. We don't have that yet, so this is really getting us ahead of the game, so to speak.
Is something similar going on the city side?
Yes, this would encompass both the city and the PUC at the same time.
Okay.
So there must be I'm sorry.
Well, you're
Additional.
ask the same question I'm going to ask.
Does the 72,000, is that's not shared with the city? There must be additional cost.
No, actually, this is the entire program.
Okay, so out of the PUC budget, this full 72 wouldn't be.
Well,
I said that backwards. The full 72 wouldn't come out of the PUC back.
well, it does.
Okay.
It comes out of the IT budget, and
Oh.
the IT budget is kind of an odd thing because what happens is the IT budget is set, and then the services that the IT department provides to the city gets divided out to all the different departments according to what the budget is set. And I forget the formula exactly, and maybe Chris can remind me. I think it's by computer. I think by how many computers each
Workstation.
department has. Yeah.
So we're approving it, but essentially will get spread across all departments, city and PUC.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think you mentioned this, but I think I may have read that the services not only include figuring out our weaknesses, putting together a plan to go forward and protect ourselves, but also a plan to respond in the event that we are breached?
Yes.
And-
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. That is a good point. Right now, we know how we're supposed to respond, but we don't have a written policy for how we ought to respond, which of course is, you really don't have a policy till it's written and approved. Right now we know that what happens is I would find out about it, hopefully, and Finance Director Nicole Jorgensen is she's the you're the records agent. I forget your technical term.
I don't remember, but-
Because she's in charge of our records retention, would also need to be notified, and then we would notify the League of Minnesota Cities, and at that point, the League of Minnesota Cities would guide us through the rest of the process, because they're our insurer, and they already have a team in place to start the process and guide us through the rest of it. But yeah, in the event of a breach, right now, that's all we know what to do. But there's probably more that we need to be doing and need to have a policy in place and procedures for how to do that.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'll offer the motion authorizing the city manager to accept and sign the proposal for cybersecurity partnership from SBS Cybersecurity in the amount of $72,000.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to authorize the city manager to accept and sign the proposal for cybersecurity partnership with SBS Cybersecurity in the amount of $72,000. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you. Next is a request to authorize purchase of vehicles for gas and wastewater. And I don't see Mr. O'Brien here. Or Mr.
These two, I'll cover it for them. All three of these vehicles were budgeted in the 2018 budget. We've got two of them coming off the state bid, it looks like, and one will be purchased from Mayday Motors. The Unit 67 will be coming from Mayday Motors if this is approved. One is the wastewater department is adding a service truck with a boom and a lift for pulling pumps, motors, and all that. And the gas department is replacing two of their older trucks. One is a 94, so that truck would be, 23 years old. And then a 3/4 ton Chevy that is 11 years old. Again, on both these were budgeted, and one's coming from Ely, and they have a total of 5 different quotes, I think, attached to your, there's at least 3 of them for the 3 trucks. So I guess I'll try to answer any questions anybody has, but we have several competitive quotes attached or addressed in the action item.
And so, like it says, and you may or may not be able to answer this, but it talks about there was 60,000 budgeted for one of the trucks, 70,000 for another, but there's more work to be done.
Yeah, they
Three
usually
boxes
have,
will be purchased. So,
have to add the boxes on the service bodies for them. So
so,
this is just a chassis.
so when the boxes are added, will we still be within the $60,000 and $70,000 budgets,
Yeah,
or well within?
they're anticipated at coming in at that, yeah.
Okay.
Move to authorize the staff to purchase vehicles for the gas and wastewater departments.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second to authorize staff to purchase vehicles for gas and wastewater departments. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is to consider our year-end carryovers from December 2017.
Good afternoon. This is a normal process at the end of the year. What we're asking is there's several items that either a purchase order was made and it wasn't completed yet, or this is a project that expands more than 1 year. And so we're asking for carryovers to be able to adjust the 2018 budget for the unspent funds from 2017. And so the electric fund is requesting about $313,325. The detail is below. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them. District Energy is requesting $9,600. The gas department is requesting $18,127. Administration, $316,119, and the IT fund, $41,000. And if these are approved, what will happen is the budget for 2018 will be adjusted for these amounts.
I'll offer the motion to approve the year-end carryovers for the year ended December 31st, 2017.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Motion and second to approve the year-end carryovers for the year ended December 31, 2017. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. The last item on the agenda is to consider the list of claims paid.
Move to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $3,430,447.96 and move to approve the list of claims to be paid in the amount of $486,856.72.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $3,430,447.96 and approve the list of claims to be paid in the amount of $486,856.72. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. And with that, we are adjourned.